Okay, everyone, big time Jurassic Park franchise fan here to analyze the new trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. It just dropped. We're gonna go shot by shot, scene by scene, and I'm gonna tell you what I like and what I don't like. Let's get to it. Okay, right out of the gate, they've got this image of the banner falling in the museum here when dinosaurs ruled the earth. I don't like it. I do love when sequels and prequels do this thing, create these touchstone moments, these familiar sort of moments, reimagined, okay, that gives us a little bit of nostalgia and everything. But the reason I don't like this here is twofold. First, this scene, this exact scene already was revisited in Jurassic World when they went to the visitor center, you know, the kids stepping over the semi-disintegrated when dinosaurs ruled the earth banner, okay? It was so tastefully done, I think, in that scene. So to revisit that exact same moment here feels a little odd. The second reason I'm not crazy about this is this Jurassic World Rebirth is they wanted to sort of reinvent it, go off on their own a little bit, be something new. So it just feels odd that the very first shot of the trailer is already sort of leaning on the past, leaning on what we already know, okay? Don't like it. Okay, Scarlett Johansson, the new leading lady playing Zora Bennett. I like it. I love Scarlett Johansson. I think she's strong. She's a great actress, and she's also a great action actress, as we've seen from her Marvel movies. I think she's an excellent pick to be the star of this new franchise. I love her here. Okay, so here you get a very quick look at the rest of the cast. I don't like it. You've got the scientist, Dr. Henry Loomis, played by Jonathan Bailey. He just looks too clean cut, too dashing, too handsome. He doesn't look book smart enough, but you know what? I'm not giving up on his character because we don't know what his arc is gonna be. We may really be rooting for this guy when it comes to the third act. Then the rest of this little interaction just shows a little bit of the comedy in the movie. It feels extremely familiar with him being brought off on this mission again, sort of unaware of what's going on. I don't like it. Okay, so here we are now, back in this sort of familiar setting again. Instead of tall grass like we had the Raptor scene in the first movie, here we're in sort of tall cornfield, it looks like. You've got this very spooky looking, elongated, kind of sinuous tail extending from the grass, a real element of fear here. Look, director Gareth Edwards said, Xenomorphs, Alien, H.R. Geiger was a little bit of influence on it. He loves it so much, okay? And here you really get a xenomorph feeling, I think, with how that tail is extending up and whipping around. I like it. I like it a lot. So now, here we see another scene opening up into the valley. Were those the tails? Were these those scary tails are actually connected to this harmless long necks? Well, we've got a couple of them here. Here we start to see the island, the new geography, these more sheer cliffs kind of rising up into the sky, a more narrow, compressed valley. It feels like the stakes are being elevated a little bit. I like it. Also sort of a different looking long neck. What is that bizarre ridge on the back of its neck? You know, word is we're gonna get some hybrids in here. We're gonna get some mutations, different kind of dinosaurs we've never seen before, obviously. So here's our first look at twisting up a little bit of our familiar image system. I like it. Okay, rising up into the fog, we start to see the birds, the pteranodons, or whatever they might be. And again, these real sheer, jagged cliffs of this more sort of difficult to traverse landscape. I love the birds in part 3. I loved all of that. I love the birds in World, okay? So anytime you get the flying dinosaurs in here, I like it. And again, a little bit of that back and forth between the main characters, you know. I'm not so sure about the chemistry here yet. I'm feeling Scarlett, not so sure about Bailey yet, okay? So I don't like it. They're gonna have to prove to me that this works here in a larger scenes, okay? So we'll see how it plays out. Look at this, the new Universal logo. This is always an exciting time for a Jurassic movie. You've got the font, you've got how they're gonna do it. It's interesting, they have sort of a really modern, clean looking Earth behind the logo, and then a very classical kind of Jurassic Park font with the Universal. I like it. Okay, now coming in here, Ali's character, okay, the gambler at this sort of remote-looking tropical outpost. I love this. Okay, here you see the cast starting to come together, and look, now I'm starting to already feel a little bit of chemistry, so maybe when they get everyone involved here, I'm liking it. Scarlett Johansson, hair pulled back with the aviator. She looks tough, she looks pretty, she just looks awesome here. I'm loving the vibes of how all the characters look in this little bar, outpost, kind of tropical island setting. I like it. Okay, so now we start to see the military, sort of paramilitary characters being brought into the fold here, as we always have. And our first shot of some of the infrastructure, some of the abandoned infrastructure, that familiar sign, danger 10,000 volts. Okay, we know something here has been long abandoned and is very dangerous. It's been able to evolve so far. I love this. Okay, so familiar kind of thing, you know, they're too dumb for what big danger they're facing ahead, but they've got guns. We know guns aren't going to do good enough against these crawling critters, so I like this. Look at the island now. We get a better look at it, kind of this archipelago of these jagged rock formations rising sharply out of the ocean. I mean, look at that terrain. You want to talk about inhospitable, you want to talk about tough to traverse, and then the nice boat just coasting its way in there. I love this image system here. I like how the new island is looking. I like it a lot. Nothing like an abandoned research facility, an abandoned laboratory, as we're seeing here. Some of my favorite stuff was the abandoned labs from the Lost World, okay, that they revisited. So I like this.
For the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah, seeing the dinos in the test tubes. This again in the test tube, the dino with a real alien xenomorph kind of quality to it, ratcheting up the horror kind of vibes. I like this.
We need DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs.
Okay, so I love this. Look, a quick setup, sort of the premise. We need DNA from the 3 biggest dinos. It just automatically sets up this easily digestible plot that sounds fun. You know, they're gonna be going to air, land, and sea, you gotta assume, to track down these dinos and collect their DNA. It's simple and effective, and it sounds fun. I like it. Okay, and so here we have an automatic example of what is it gonna be pursuing these samples, these DNA samples they're seeking, and we have ScarJo descending through this rugged waterfall, okay? Hey look, ever since that helicopter in the original Jurassic Park made its uneasy descent down that famous waterfall, okay? I've always loved a good waterfall descent in any Jurassic film. There's been a lot of references to it, and here, putting our main actress right in the thick of it, dropping down these sheer wet cliffs, okay? She looks so capable with the gloves and the boots and everything. I love this. Okay, so now we have this sort of Mayan cliffside temple, this sort of Incan temple or whatever it is. This sort of ancient civilization, abandoned temple. Look, director Gareth Edwards, he also mentioned his love of Spielberg classics, his love of Indiana Jones, and this kind of thing being this sort of little reference, this little nod to something he loved so much, integrating in this sort of abandoned temple where they're extracting the egg from. I like this. Now sometimes this kind of thing, if you're referencing too many things, too heavy-handed, you know, it doesn't always appeal to me, but who doesn't like a good indie reference in here? And this feels right. I mean, they're in the jungle. Why wouldn't there be some abandoned civilization here, sort of expanding the universe? I like this. Okay, this summer, I love this. Look, Jurassic Park. Not since Jaws was there such an epic tentpole movie that defined summer blockbusters, so it feels so good again to see this summer with that nice gradient effect, and you just know Jurassic Park is going to be the king of the theater once again. People are going to be scarfing down popcorn. It's going to feel good. Here we sort of have an aerial shot, okay, getting more of the scale of the island. Like, whoa, look, this place is pretty big, okay? We're gonna have a lot of locales to visit, even though it's gonna be, I assume, a self-contained story within this island. It looks like we've got a lot of different areas to explore. I like that. Okay, look, the flares, the red flares. This has been a kind of touchstone thing, this sort of familiar image system ever since the first one, when Dr. Grant and Malcolm had the flares trying to distract the T-Rex, all the way to the Jurassic World remake where Bryce Dallas Howard has the flares and she's running away from the Indominus in the climax. Flares, the red flare light always brings an intensity to the scene, and I love to see it back here. ScarJo looks awesome lit up in red like that. Look at the look on her face, fear, and that's what they're trying to elevate in the Rebirth. Okay, again now, a very familiar image. We see those raptor toes, okay, that top toe just waiting to click down, but here it's sort of wading through semi-flooded room of some sort. Obviously, someone's hiding. It looks like it's from their POV, so we're gonna reconjure some of the horror kind of vibes from that original kitchen scene, okay? Now again, some of it is feeling a little familiar here. So right here, this shot, I gotta say, I don't like it so much. It's just we've seen this too much. The raptor toe isn't what it once was. The raptor toe isn't as scary as it used to be. Okay, and right now it feels like they're leaning a little bit heavy on the past for something that wants to so strongly define itself as something new. I don't like it. Okay, now look at this shot. Here we see the scale of what one of these new dinosaurs are. One of these new big boys that are gonna threaten the dominance of the almighty T-Rex. And this thing, whatever it is, looks massive. Because look at its wrist and its sort of elongated finger-like things. I don't know what this creature is yet, but it looks huge. I love the way its arm is just reaching out of that fog and smoke, and they're trapped here on the dock. I like this. Okay, now this is an important thing here. We see a child character. This is one thing that I've noticed is sort of missing from this movie, as far as I know, is a child. Every single Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movie has had this sort of child character to it, a family sort of element to it, which I think is very important. It's really carried it in a lot of ways, and it's something that can bring the wide variety of the audience that goes to this all together too. So up until this point though, we haven't seen any kind of character at all that is of adolescent age, so I like this here to see it. The question remains, how big of a part of the story is this character? This is actor Audrina Miranda, okay? It remains to be seen how big the role for them is here, but I'm glad they're here. I like it. So again now with the intense red flare light, and here we get another look at one of these new dinosaurs. Again, they've stated some of the dinos, this is a long abandoned park where they were first sort of doing the test breeding, tests raising these dinosaurs that would ultimately end up in Jurassic Park. So we know we're gonna have some hybrids, some mutations. We don't know what we're gonna get, but we're starting to get a glimpse of what it's gonna look like. And here again, strong H.R. Geiger vibes, strong alien vibes as you see the snout, the kind of rounded snout and the layers of sharp teeth. It really gives a xenomorph vibe in a very strong way. I'm gonna say I like it, but I hope it doesn't go too far in that direction, okay? It could easily push me into not liking it. So far, I like the scary tone. A new era, okay? Look, I gotta say, I really love how Jurassic World trilogy was able to sort of incorporate so much familiarity and even characters, okay, Dr. Henry Wu, etc., into the New World trilogy. And I did like at least the attempt to bring back the original cast in Dominion. Whether or not it paid off as well as it should have is obviously debatable, but I like the swing they took with that. I like bringing in the old with the new. So this new era thing, I gotta say, I'm not 100% on board with. I don't quite see the total value of why they want to reinvent the franchise as much as they do. Obviously, other than more than just turning the page on what Dominion was, I really feel like they could have tried to do like a Dominion 2, where it would have been sort of the whole prehistoric world, Jurassic World on a world scale more, okay, and not distracted by these like locust subplots and everything, you know. So the new era, they got to prove to me this thing's gonna pay off, and right now, being a new era, I don't like it. Okay, the Dilophosaurus rising up again. Okay, it's nice to see a familiar dinosaur. You know, all the usual suspects are gonna be here. It looks like it's got a new kind of color scheme on its fans too, so it's nice to just know we're gonna see all these kind of familiar dinosaurs with sort of a new look. And just the image here of the character on the steamy riverbank, okay, just being teed up by this Dilophosaur. This looks like a scary scene. You know, it's some sort of chase is gonna ensue right here, okay? I like this. There he is now, the T-Rex, okay? Big bad, you gotta have it everywhere. And here we get a quick shot of him again. You see this new kind of color scheme on its back, this sort of tiger striping effect, okay? The great games, Jurassic World Evolution and Evolution 2, you could modify the dinosaur skins a lot and stuff like that, modify their looks, and this sort of reminds me of it. That being said, this feels like a very quick, not a throwaway shot, but I don't know if the T-Rex is getting the respect it deserves here in this shot, and also it just looks a tiny bit odd how it's blending with the little protruding plants in the foreground and everything. I like where they're going with this, trying to give the T-Rex a new look. It looks like he has these really bright kind of golden amber eyes and everything, but did they execute it? I don't like it. I want the T-Rex to always look like king of the show. Here it sort of looks like just a side character. Now look at this, you want to talk about Alien vibes, okay? This is straight out of Alien. You have the two people in their biohazard suits. They look like astronauts on the opposite side of this very futuristic looking like kind of tech wall with the window. This massive looming beast behind them that doesn't even look like a dinosaur at all, okay? And you know this guy in the foreground is about to press the security lock to like bring down some sheets of metal. The guy on the inside is a total goner, okay? I like the horror vibes of it, but I gotta say, seeing that creature in the background, it just doesn't look like a dino, first of all. It looks like monstrous mutation. It looks like some kind of monster and not enough of a dino. So I gotta say, I don't like it. I don't want them going in the direction where we just have some weird mutant monsters. They gotta be familiar in some way of being the dino, but I like the horror vibes here, okay? The creature, I don't like it. It looks like an ape. It looks like a King Kong, a mutated King Kong of some sort. Look, some of those shots of the island do give me Skull Island vibes, okay? So maybe it's a little bit of a nod to that, but at this point, until I see more of this creature and know that it's a more dino than just mutant freak, I don't like it. Look at this, the T-Rex plunging its head underwater. Any scene with water I love. It's been told that the beloved river scene or lagoon scene from the original book is gonna finally come to life in this film, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that here. I like it a lot. Now look at this. This is definitely something new, okay? We're again on open water. We've got multiple Spinosaurs. You can see their recognizable sort of fin on their back, the fan extending up out of the water, and here you see coordinated together. I love the Spinosaur from part 3, really stole the show. It was an excellent adversary when you had Spinosaur v T-Rex. So anytime they want to bring this Spinosaur back, I love it. And here, swimming together in a coordinated sort of attack on this boat. Add to that, they're working with the Mosasaur, and seeing the Spinosaur swim also in the open water, if that's what this is. This may not be the Spinosaur, but it definitely looks like some kind of hybrid mixing of a Spinosaur. Okay, here again, okay, the child, I think it's important to see this. They are being brought into the plot. They're not just going to be on the side. Somehow they're going to be involved in the bulk of this story. I think it's very necessary. I like it. And there we see the creature coming out. So it does look like some kind of alligator. It definitely doesn't look like a pure Spinosaur. This is some sort of swimming gator-like Spinosaur. So not quite sure exactly what it is, but I like it. Yeah, look at that. A real gator kind of quality to it. but it definitely has a lot of Spinosaur elements mixed in. Look at those long claws, okay, very familiar there. Tearing up the boat. Oh, this is gonna be a big action scene. I love it. And there it is, the king of the water, okay, the Mosasaur. I love this character. I love how it lives on, and they've been able to do more, and they've been able to incorporate this into the story. So this is some totally other Mosasaur that they must have been developing separate from the Mosasaur that ends up in the Jurassic World park. So I just really like all this kind of connective tissue between the movies that I'm seeing. I like it a lot. And there it is, the new logo, okay, putting the T-Rex again front and center, Jurassic World, the very familiar font. Title Rebirth, look, I haven't been sold on that from the beginning since I heard it. I just think that word rebirth has been used, a little bit overused with a lot of media in the last few years, especially video games, but just in general, we've heard a lot of things being reborn with rebirth. And something about it, I don't know, it sounds too small for Jurassic World. I want to hear something a little more epic. So the title, I don't like, but the logo, I like it. Sort of deep faded blue and then this golden light, very reminiscent of the first one more. Our sort of rising sun sheen coming off the top of the words there. I like it. In theaters in July. So I love that, as I said, big summer blockbuster, Dolby Cinema. Oh, I still remember the first Jurassic Park thumping with its DTS audio, okay, and here they're doing it again. You know it's gonna be the top quality presentation. What I love the most, real D3D, keeping it alive, baby. Nothing like seeing a nice, beautiful blockbuster in 3 dimensions on the big silver screen. So we're counting it down. The countdown to release day has begun, setting its flag down right in the middle of the summer where it belongs. This thing's gonna be big. Overall, I like what I see a lot.